Hey, it's Booray Perry, and today on Booray Explains, we're going to talk about white balance. Before we get started, don't forget to check out all the stuff I have to offer. First, new merch. That's right, I have a merch store now. I call it Camera Nerd, and you can buy cool Camera Nerd t-shirts and hoodies and coffee mugs there, as well as my favorite little slogan, which is one camera, one lens, which is really for my Fuji X100 users. One camera, one lens. We don't change lenses. No. Also, be sure and check out my podcast. It's called Photobomb. It's available anywhere that podcasts are found. And join my group on Instagram at Booray Perry. And also, if you go to my webpage there, you will find a list of all the gear that I carry. And if you click on one of those links and you buy something, then I get a couple dollars and it helps me keep this channel going. Just go to boorayperry.com/education. The link is down in the description. You know how this works. And you can find all of these things. All right, let's talk about white balance. I did a video right before this one on color temperature. So if you don't understand color temperature, if you don't understand why this color is 3800K and that color is 5000K, if you don't understand that, if you don't understand that every light has a color temperature, then go back and watch that video. And I'll put a link right up here. Just once I want to get this right. I'll put a link right up here to that video. So stop what you're doing right now, go back, take a look at that one, and then come right back here. All right, because once you understand color temperature, then you have to talk about white balance. Color temperature is something that exists with all light. White balance is something that exists within your camera. So white balance, with your camera, what you're trying to do is you're trying to tell your camera what the color temperature is of the light that is coming into the lens. Because all of these lights have different colors. Candlelight is red, and shade is blue. And your camera doesn't know what color temperature the light is. So if you can tell your camera, here's the color temperature, then it will white balance the camera. And what does that mean? It means that it will make that light look like white light to your images. And the way it does this is it just adds red or blue to the image. So if you're taking a picture of something and it's lit with a reddish light, like a 3800 or a 3000 Kelvin light, if you tell the camera that's a 3000 Kelvin light, then the camera will add blue to the image to offset the red until they meet in the middle and they become white. And then you will have a white balance. You get that? Your balance, it's like the fulcrum, right? You got red on one end and blue on the other, and you want to get them balanced. You want to meet them in the middle, and that's going to give you a white balance on your camera. And this is important because, you can be moving around even outside, and you can have the color of the light change. The color temperature will change on you if you go from daylight, bright light, to shade, or even if something as simple as a cloud coming over the sun can change your white balance. So you need to change the white balance in your camera. Now, here's the great thing. Back in the old days, you had to do this manually. Not anymore. Now the camera will do it for you. So if you set your white balance to auto, then the camera will try to figure out what the white balance is, and it will do a pretty good job most of the time. I live in auto white balance most of the time. And then if there's a problem, when you look at your picture later, you can fix it. But the other way you can do it is to set your white balance live on location. And for that, you typically want to use some sort of what we call a gray card, or a color balance checker or white balance card. They have lots of different names. They come in different sizes and do different things. But normally they're going to be gray, or they're going to be all three, white, gray, and black. And your camera can get a proper white balance off of any of these three. But usually gray is the best one to use, because white, you think it's white, but it's not really white. There's kind of shades of white, and black can be trouble for the camera to really photograph well because it's underexposed to begin with. So typically we use gray to determine the white balance. So you take this gray and you tell the camera, I want you to look at this gray and give me a proper white balance. It can do it again with just normal pictures, but because of the different varying degrees and contrast and textures of the different colors that are in your picture, it can sometimes be confused. If you give it something that's rock solid, this is gray, then it's going to nail it every single time. So I wanted to kind of show you an example of what I'm talking about, how light mixes up and can be different colors, and sometimes you maybe don't even notice it. So I've kind of been dealing with this lately myself. I got a new camera. It's 4K, and I've been setting it up in this room. And I'll be honest, I'm one of the worst people when it comes to white balance. I really am. Yeah, I just don't see it all the time because I think, you know, your brain plays a trick on you. Your brain just kind of assumes that the light is okay and you don't pay attention to it. So there have been many times where I just don't see it. I'll be like, that picture looks fine, and someone else will say, you can't see how red that picture is or how green that picture is? You kind of have to train yourself to look for it. So, for example, in this room I'm in right now, the light that is lighting my face is not the same white balance as the light that's coming in that window back there. I'm pretty sure it's not. If you look back there at the back of the room, doesn't it look a little blue back there? Just a little bit? I don't know, but there is a way to find out. We can change the white balance on the camera that I'm using right now to tape myself. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll take this and we'll put it right here. And now, in post-production, I'm talking to you, Booray. What I want you to do is to take the little clicker click on the white balance tool and click it on this and see if it changes the way that my face looks and the color in my face. So go ahead, do it right now. Did it change? I hope it changed because it seems to me when I'm making this video that my face is a little bit red. So we'll see if it changed in post. If not, all this gets cut out. So there you go, right? As you can see, I've changed the white balance on my face to get a more pure white light look to my face. But when I did that, it changed the back of the room too, because the light that's back there is not the same as the light that's up here. It's not the same color, so it changed that light as well. And if I was to take this target to the back of the room and do a white balance on the back of the room, then it would change it again. And the back of the room would look fine, and my face would look different again. Now we've changed it again because we've white balanced for the light that's coming in the back of the room, and that's different than the light that is on my face. So as you can see, there are a lot of different factors to consider when you are doing white balance in your camera. And 95% of the time, just setting your white balance to auto is going to be great. And then you can fix it later in post-processing. And what I haven't even talked about is that sometimes you don't want it to be white balanced correctly. For example, your artistic side comes out. Your pictures are your pictures. And I like my pictures to be a little bit warmer. What do I mean by warmer? It's in my last video on color temperature. I like my pictures to be a little bit warmer, which is to say, I like my faces to be a little bit more red. I don't know, I think people like it. I think I like it, right? I've asked people, I'm like, okay, look at this picture where the white balance is perfectly white, and then look at this one where it's a little bit red, and which one do you like? And they always tend to pick the one where faces are a little bit red. I think they think it makes them look a little tan. So that's what I use, right? I tend to be a little bit red in my white balance. I don't use a pure white balance. So it's really up to you to decide what you want the color temperature to be on the light as far as the camera is concerned that is coming in to your camera and taking your pictures. It seems really, really difficult. It is actually. White balance can be tricky if you don't understand it. But the bottom line is shoot in auto white balance most of the time. But if you're in a situation where the light's not going to change, like in a studio situation, for example, then you can set a custom white balance and dial it in perfect using a gray card, and it'll be great for you the whole time that you're taking pictures. All right, be sure and throw me a subscription, throw me a like, hit the notification button so that you'll know when I post another video, and thanks for watching.